This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm joined by Chris Algieri here in Miami. Chris, how are you?
I'm good. Happy to be here. Big fight weekend.
It's good to hear. Now, that's all right. You're a busy man, as I can see. Obviously, joining up with Matchroom this week, working with them. Talk to me about the role you'll be taking.
Yeah, so I'm going to be calling the undercard fights, for the live telecast, and then also doing hosting a bunch of shows throughout the week, namely highlighting Mark Castro's weight cut, getting up to fight night, and doing a couple previews for some of the fights as well.
Talk about working with somebody else, trying to kind of guide them through their weight cut. What are your thoughts on seeing Mark go through? You've been through it many times yourself throughout your career. What's it like trying to kind of guide a youngster coming through?
It's just give little nuggets of knowledge. Everyone's got their way of doing things. I'm not reinventing the wheel for any of these guys. They're all high level already. Even Mark, he's early in his pro career, but he's been boxing his whole life. So I don't want to change too many things coming in on fight week, and just kind of listen and give like I said, little nuggets of knowledge, and make it a little bit easier, have them be a little bit better, so they can be their best on fight night.
Now, Chris, talk to me about yourself with regards to your career. We haven't seen you fight since the Tommy Coyle win back in 2019. What's been going on?
So, after the Tommy Coyle fight, as we all know, that was a title eliminator for the WBO world title, which Maurice Hooker had, and then he ended up fighting Ramirez. That fight obviously went for Ramirez, who broke his hand, which pushed him back even longer. So we were kind of waiting for those opportunities, and the pandemic hit. So it's kept me out of the ring way longer than we expected to be, but I've never really stopped working, other than, the time away from the pandemic. So really just kind of gearing up again and just getting ready for the next opportunity.
The pandemic could have gone one or two ways for somebody who's been involved in the sport for as long as what you have. It could have maybe either just killed your desire killed your desire and your passion to continue, or it could have kept that fire burning and made it even kind of more desirable for you to return. Is that the way it's gone? Have you got an even bigger passion and a burning fire inside you to return to the ring now?
Great question. Originally I thought it was going to end my career, because I thought that I don't know how long it was going to last. I knew it was going to change the market. Never been so much of a passion thing, but I got a lot more work during the pandemic doing commentating, and that's kept me involved in the sport that much more and dialed in. So, that passion still burns.
How do you still feel when you are entering the gym? Obviously, not having fought since 2019, everybody will imagine when you do make a ring return, some rust will have to kind of come off the first few rounds. But how have you felt when you are in the gym training?
Too damn good. I'm waiting for some of these young guys to beat me up so I can be like, all right, I'm done. But no, I'm still feeling super sharp. And honestly, I think some of the time off and getting away has allowed my body, certain parts of my body to heal, and I feel great.
What is your remaining ambitions then? I've heard you in past interviews, you're looking at super lightweight division still. Just kind of your thoughts as to what you still feel like you can achieve.
Yeah, at this opportunity, I always want to be a world champion. That's kind of always the goal. But also, fighting big name fighters. Having those guys on the resume. My resume is obviously already pretty long and illustrious, but I think there's opportunities for some other big names and big fights. Really legacy stuff. At this point.
Obviously, just at super lightweight, everybody's waiting on a Taylor Ramirez unification fight. That one does go ahead. Your thoughts?
Great fight, great matchup, and this is what we want to see. I don't like when we have multiple world champions in the same weight class who are undefeated. How does that happen? So now these guys are making that fight happen. It's an interesting style matchup. Ramirez is like, he's the kind of guy, he's just so fundamental, does everything right, is so physically strong, is so conditioned, so tough. And then you got a guy like Taylor, southpaw, who has, the background, he's got hand speed, he's got power too. It's a great matchup all around. Interesting matchup.
Who would you edge towards or favour?
I would lean towards Taylor. I think he can probably do more things, but you cannot take away from Ramirez, because what he does really well, and he makes it work for him. I didn't predict that Hooker fight the way it went, but that's because Ramirez is that. He does what he does, and he does it well.
One thing you did say earlier on in one of your answers is that you're not keen on the amount of titles involved in the sport, especially when you've got two unbeaten fighters in Taylor and Ramirez. What are your thoughts on kind of having 4 or 5 belts around each division now? Probably, you could effectively say more when you've got regular titles, interim titles and what have you. What are your thoughts on the amount of belts which are across the sport?
Yeah, it's confusing for the fans, not so much for the fighters and the people involved in the sport. Like, we know who the real world champions are. We know which belts matter. Like you said, it's the supers, and then there's these international titles, all these different titles. And I understand, from a business perspective what they are, but I do think they muddle up the waters for the people watching.
I just want to touch on this weekend, Canelo-Yildirim. Many expect Saul Canelo Alvarez to come through relatively comfortably. Just your thoughts there?
I think I do too. I've got Canelo winning this fight, probably a knockout in the mid rounds. But Yildirim is a tough guy and he's aggressive, and he's going to make it interesting, at least in the beginning. I believe he'll be willing to exchange. It's just how much time is it going to be before Canelo gets to deliver?
I mean, he obviously fought Callum Smith last time out in December. Just going back to that fight, Chris, what did you make of it?
I thought it was a beautiful performance. I was surprised, actually. I thought Callum Smith was going to put up more of a fight. I thought he was going to be, have some success, and he really didn't. Canelo did a great job of completely neutralizing everything, taking away that lead left hook, which is his Callum Smith's best punch. But also, I didn't think that was going to match up well because Canelo's a great hooker too, and generally you don't want to hook with a hooker, especially a guy who's smaller and faster. So, but again, Canelo impressed me.
Let's talk about Canelo Billy Joe Saunders in May. For you, or in your opinion, is the style of Billy Joe maybe the best suited to try and cause Canelo the most problems, maybe beat him, or is it somebody else like a Caleb Plant who would potentially hold the best chance?
I think Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders or Demetrius Andrade, I think, stylistically present the most problems for Canelo. Southpaw, slick, boxer. They're both physically strong as well. So I think and that's shown issues for Canelo in the past. So I think those guys, the attributes they bring probably pose the most problem.
Chris, I'll leave it there now because I know you're a busy man. You're going to shoot off. So thank you for your time and thanks for speaking to Boxing Social.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys.